Hey, here we are.
How are you?
Good. You know, I was going to say Millcast number, but I'm actually not absolutely certain what number we're on, which means we've done a lot of these.
We've done a lot. I think it's 9, but I could be wrong.
9, 10, something like that.
Yeah,
so
it's all good.
Welcome back to the Millcast. Thanks for being here with us today.
Yeah, and thanks for watching these Millcasts. We appreciate it.
Yeah. So, what's new with you?
Not much. I don't know if you noticed, if it struck you. We actually saw the sun yesterday. I mean, we're back to overcast day, but for a bit of yesterday, it was a bright, sunny day.
Oh, it was beautiful. I was over at my friend's house doing a little... my friend started this tradition, which I will share with you because I think it's great, where when one of us is having a baby, we get together and we cook a bunch of recipes in order to send home with them to freeze.
Smart.
Filling their chest freezer for when the baby comes. They started doing it when I was expecting Maeve, and it was great because we had food throughout the first few weeks when the baby was here. Instead of doing like a big gift thing. So anyways, they live up on this beautiful hill in Lebanon, New Hampshire, where you can see like all the way to Killington. So with that sun coming in, it was just gorgeous.
Very nice.
So I wasn't outside for it, but it was sure nice.
Yeah, but I like that. Instead of a baby shower, it's food.
Yeah, we all come up with
food
recipes.
For the adults.
Put them in like, you know, all sorts of Tupperwares, and they just go home, put them in their food. I think we made like 20 breakfast burritos. Which will keep her going for a while.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Yeah, what'd you do this weekend?
You know, I did a lot of knitting.
Great.
There was a lot of football on in our house.
Were you working on the sweater for Todd?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So I got. It doesn't look like it because it's going from the neck down and it's a guy. So just doing one row is taking forever. But watched a lot of football and on Sunday and did a lot of knitting. And, you know, got caught up on chores.
Yeah.
You know, so it
Sheep
was
chores?
Good. Sheep chores, house chores. Yeah, all good.
It feels like this was a good weekend for it. We did a lot of that, too, Saturday, because it's like, you know, the holidays have finally died down.
Well, yeah, and the tree had to come down. I'm
we
big
still
on,
have our tree.
I don't know. It's funny. As soon as January hits, I'm like, yeah. But I also like to get the tree up right after Thanksgiving. Yeah. So by, you know.
Yeah, we took like a week or two. But my thing was the ornaments had to come off. I wanted the tree with the lights still on it, but that might come down this week. And we actually feed our tree to the sheep.
I did.
You did that.
Absolutely.
They love it.
Which I don't know. It took me so long to realize that. Yeah. Our sheep have almost cleaned it, and it was a really dense, and I'd say, you know, most of the pines are gone.
Yeah. You know, tip to all those out there. If you don't have your own sheep, there might be a shepherd willing to take your leftover Christmas tree. So live and learn.
If you know a sheep farmer, see if they want your Christmas tree. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah. So what are you wearing? What's the sweater?
Well, I try to be au courant. And I don't know if you know that Pantone has announced their color for 2023.
I am not hip with it.
Magenta.
Okay. I wouldn't have guessed it, but there you go.
There you go. And
so you just real quick knit that up after
I whipped this up the moment I heard. I went into my closet, and evidently if you just wait long enough, your color is going to become the color. This is the Einstein jacket, and I had friends of mine. Yeah, this is the Einstein jacket, and you know, it's kind of bulky yarn. I like this.
Do you knit it with 2 strands at
once?
I
did this with 2 strands because this is the Jacob from several years ago. I probably knit this maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah. So I was carrying 2 strands, and it's very simple.
Stand up, show it off.
Well,
that's great.
So it's got a seam across the back.
Yep, right there. Mm-hmm.
And then I can't. Yeah, you knit it. Yeah, you're knitting it this way. Then you pick up the stitches and you knit up.
Yep.
And then you're knitting the sleeves out.
Nice.
Yeah. It's very warm.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned before I'm very adverse to dealing with buttonholes, so there's no button band. So if you look for the buttonholes,
you just stick it through.
I just sort of jam it through. I have, you know, these old-fashioned kind of things, and I never button it anyway. So but magenta, great. I'm in.
Yeah, you're very in. Yeah. We got to start doing more magenta here, I guess.
I guess so.
You heard it here.
Yeah, magenta.
Yeah.
I don't know who makes the call and what they base it on.
Well, you know, there are trend forecasters out there, so maybe it's them.
I wonder if they ever solicit input. Like, I don't think I would have gone with magenta, but that's all right. That's what I'm wearing. And you're wearing what you knit, which is...
Yeah, I've worn this one before. This is kind of a good, it's real cold
warm.
out. It is very warm. This is the Petite Knit Zipper Sweater is the name of the pattern. And I knit it with some of the fleece from my sheep. So Corriedale spun 3-ply here at the mill. And then I held it together with mohair from, I think I picked this one up on vacation in Denmark. But they sell similar. It's like a mohair silk blend.
I so wish we could share with you how things feel different. You feel this, and it's uber soft, the mohair, but also your Corriedale.
Yep.
This is Jacob. It's warm, it's got the crimp, but it's not nearly as soft.
Yeah.
It's just,
all the fleeces are different.
Yes, it is. They really are. They really are. Hey, we're trying something a little different today.
Yeah.
I ambushed a customer. She's really terrific. Her name is Molly Davis, and she was a great sport. I said, hey, Molly, from time to time, we'd like to talk to folks who are doing custom processing with us if they would tell us a little bit about themselves and their flock. And so
I thought it was a great idea. So thank you for remembering to ambush Molly.
Yeah, so let us introduce you to Molly.
Hi, I'm Molly Davis of White Dog Farm, and today I'm picking up my Valet Blacknose Teeswater Wensleydale fleeces from my 4 6-month-old babies. And we blended it here with some Falkland Merino top for some nice squishiness. And you can see this beautiful gray. And I am going to knit sweaters and wraps and socks with this, and I sell it on our website, White Dog Farm, and through Instagram. In addition to selling fiber and yarn on our website, I am a commission knitter and pattern designer, as well as tester for some other local knitters. I knit this sweater, and I love knitting for people and helping spread the word of our fiber in this beautiful state of Vermont.
She has such a good energy about her.
She really does, and she's a natural.
Yeah, and she is a prolific knitter.
Yeah, she really is.
She's one of the people, she's actually made a little business doing custom knitting for people, which... I don't know, maybe we'd love to hear your opinions on this, but maybe I'm a slow knitter. You could not pay me anything to knit you something. It's for the love of it. It takes me forever.
Yeah, but I think that for some folks where they've already knit, sweaters for the family, for themselves, they get into this sort of, I want to keep knitting, but and so you get to enjoy the knitting, but you're also
she does a great job at it.
Yeah, she really does.
And I think the funny thing is that she also does does trades with Tammy at Wing in the Prayer with her knits too. So she'll do a sample knit for Tammy, and then Tammy will give her some sheep to add to her flock. So it's a fun arrarrangement the two of them have.
Oh, it's perfect.
Going. Yeah, it's great.
That's Tammy White at Wing in a Prayer.
Yeah. So anyways, Molly Davis, she owns, I think her and her family own White Dog Farm. And they're in Vermont. So whitedogfarmvt.com if you want to check her out.
Yeah, check her out. Yeah, that was fun. I don't know who we're ambushing next, but you're now forewarned if you do have a drop off or pickup coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had a reasonably busy week last week.
We did a lot, although we were sort of scratching our heads this morning on what do we have to show for it.
Well, we don't have a lot of show and tell because a lot of it is now in the queue to be spun.
Yes.
It goes in phases, but right now we have easily 4 different jobs waiting for the spinner, and that's what, when this Millcast is over, guess what we'll be doing?
Yeah, it is queued up and ready to spin.
Really ready to go. Yeah, but we might as well show what we do have. We showed this. This is so fun. This is the Montadale Cheviot that we have shown you in a lot of different colors, and we showed you this as roving, and it's now spun. And man, you dyed this, and
yeah, we were going for rust. You all gave your suggestions when we asked for what a 5th or 6th color is, depending on how you look at it, and we went for rust. And I think this looks pretty rusty.
Yeah,
maybe a little more on the red side.
It's funny. It seems like saffron.
Yeah. Saffron's a great name for that one.
That's what it looks like to me. Anyway, really nice. It's going to be a nice addition.
I agree, and it's got this Montadale Cheviot. It's got a nice luster to it, but it's still like a lot of loft.
It's good. So nicely done. What have you got?
That's great. I have the honor of showing you two colors of very similar yarn that we did for a customer. So this is for custom processing. Gosh, it just feels, cool to the touch. It's so, I don't know, what would give it that coolness to the touch? It's just got this like really soft, really lustrous, and yet it has a lot of crimp because so this is a border luster, I believe.
Yep, it is.
And we made the call that it needed to have a little more crimp to get through our equipment. So we sourced some black dyed merino fleece to add to it. And it just added this lovely, lovely softness and loft to it that it wouldn't have had otherwise. Yeah. And it's also 3-ply, which, we tell you every time. We love our 3-ply. But it looks so beautiful.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Oh, I would love to knit with this.
I'd like to see what she's going to knit with all these great colors.
Yeah, so this was the dark one. I think that one might be my favorite, although I haven't seen the white yet.
Yeah, the white, we've spun it. We just haven't gotten it off the bobbins.
Yeah, and then this is a sort of a heather gray, same sort of deal. We did blend with this. Is that correct?
Yep.
So we blended our white Falkland fiber with this at about 15%, but you still get all that luster from the border luster. And it's again, 3-ply. It looks beautiful.
Right. And again, the little white are so that she can dye.
Is this 3-ply or 2-ply? Now I'm questioning myself.
Isn't this part of the original order? It should be 3-ply.
Yep, it's 3-ply.
3-ply. Whew. Yikes. Anyway,
so that's what we have to show for you, but I think we'll have a lot more next week because we're sort of getting on a run of a lot of stuff teed up, ready to go.
Right. Yeah. We'll be cranking. Cranking. Yeah. So we're going to continue our tour of the mill, if you will, and Amanda is about to show you everything you want to know about our pin drafter, one of our very favorite pieces of equipment.
So this is our pin drafter. The purpose of the pin drafter is to further align the fibers as well as to blend the fibers and get it prepared for spinning. We are a semi-worsted mill here, which means that we have a carder, but then we pin draft our carded roving so that the fibers all get very elongated and they're sort of parallel to each other, which produces sort of a worsted effect in the finished yarn. So we use drafting rather than splitting the roving into pencil roving, and that's what makes it semi-worsted. But to come back to the pin drafter, like I said, the purpose is to sort of align those fibers even more of the roving and get it all even so that one yard is the same as every other yard when we go to spin it, which produces a very even yarn as an end product. Our pin drafter is a lovely beast. It's a Warner & Swasey, which is from mid-century textile America, and it has been sort of reconfigured to run on variable frequency drives, which are computers, so we're able to change up the speeds of various rollers in order to produce the roving that we want. And now I'll describe how it works. So if you come over on this end, we start by taking our carded roving, which we discussed in one of our last Millcast, how our carder works. We take those stacks and we split them into 6 even piles. So here we've got some fiber that's just been carded and it's ready to go through. We take those 6 stacks and we take all the ends up through these little sort of spacers and we create a point on the end like so. Then once we've got the machine running, we're going to put that point through on this end and we're going to follow this caution sign to be careful not to put our fingers in there. And it goes through a series of combed bars called faller bars, which are operating on a continuous loop. And you can actually see right now, since the machine is off, how that looks. So here you can see the bars. They've got these sharp teeth. There's about 72 of them. I know because it's my job to wash these every now and then. So the fiber is going to come through there. There's a roller moving pretty quickly here. We grab the end and we plop it into our can coiler just like in the carder. And then this gets coiled just like a soft serve ice cream, very similar to the carder. When the fiber goes in, it's those 6 tails of roving, and when it comes out, the thickness is the same as one of those. So what it's doing is it's using those combs to draft apart the fibers, and it also comes out looking a lot more in line. Like if you took a brush to some snarly hair, and then it comes out a lot smoother on the other side. If we are doing pin drafted roving, this is where it ends. So we take what's in this can here, package that up for the customer, and it makes beautiful hand spinning roving. When we are going on to make yarn on our spinner, we need to be extra careful that every single yard is the same as every other yard in the stack. So we actually take that roving, split it into 6 piles yet again, and do the same thing over. So we're taking that pin drafted roving and re-pin drafting it. And sometimes we even do that a 3rd time, depending on what we're trying to do, especially for really fine yarns. This little guy here I want to just draw attention to. This is the static bar. When Peg and I first started processing fiber here, this machine caused us a lot of grief. Getting the fiber from this end into the can on dry days like today. We finally got the humidity up to 42. We've got this really fancy little gauge here. It's not fancy. But when it's really dry, the fiber wants to go everywhere. It's just like your hair in the fall, just all over the place, which makes it not want to stick with its friends to go into the can. So what we discovered through the help of an online support group for mill owners is that they make static bars. And what this guy does is it just sends down, I think it's like a negative charge, a positive charge. It does something electrically to control the static and just calms those fibers right down and lets them get into the can. Now we're still dealing with the necessity of having just a little bit of crimp in there because we're not adding twist to keep the fibers together. So we want to make sure there's a little crimp in our fiber from the get-go to allow it to sort of get over this gap into the can. But this static bar has made a world of difference, and you know, the other cool thing is we've got it on this stand, which allows us to get in here and clean from time to time when we need to. The last thing I'll talk about is just the maintenance of this machine. This one is a grease monster. It requires a lot of oil to keep it happy. So I actually did this last week. I went through and I used a grease gun on, I believe there's 14 Zerks, that's these guys. And so we're just adding grease. There's just so many moving parts to keep this all moving slowly and prolong the life of this beautiful and very durable machine. Peg and I have had a lot of adventures with this that I'm sure we'll talk about more when we get back together here. And on the can as well, there's a couple of grease points. So this is a pin drafter. It's honestly, I don't know, it's tied up there for #1 in my favorite machines in our mill because it really allows us to do some very nice stuff, and especially to produce yarn that is extremely consistent, which was our goal when we first started the mill. So that's the pin drafter.
That was great.
Thanks.
I sometimes feel like we should have a quiz afterwards. You know, did you remember everything we told you about that pin drafter? It's a great. It's a workhorse. I think you might have said it. It's got a. I was going to say it has a lot of moving parts. It actually doesn't. Other than the fowlers, they look like the combs that we showed you, going up and down. The simplicity of how it works is remarkable.
Yeah, and you know, now that I'm thinking back on last week, one thing we did get to do is talk to a woman in New Zealand.
Oh gosh!
I just want to share this, and maybe we'll invite her on the podcast someday. But yeah, it was. I say this in the pin drafting discussion because she has almost an identical mill to us.
It's crazy.
In New Zealand.
In New Zealand. So not only is she in New Zealand, same equipment, and how did she know about us?
She saw us on the Millcast. I don't know. She found out about us. Anyways, she just got her mill after, you know, we've sort of been down that road to like you make the decision and then there's a lot of time between getting, you know, figuring out all the moving pieces to get your equipment into your space. So she has it and she's struggling with her pin drafter.
Right.
And so we just did a call with her and sort of gave
Zoom.
her our...
We had to do a Zoom, a FaceTime.
Yeah.
So it was fun to actually see her, and her partner was there videotaping the FaceTime. It was kind of interesting.
Yeah, what a wild world to be this sort of interconnected in our very niche markets. It was just like looking through a little mirror to see
and
New Zealand.
When she showed us the spinner, I'm like, oh my God, there's only like 26 in the world.
Yeah.
And there's one of them down in New Zealand. There are 8 spindles spinner. Just crazy.
But we were happy to help because we really feel like we've gotten to know that pin drafter well over the years. It's been, I would say we've had our most stressful moments of any moments with the pin drafter. Like, at least me, I felt like I've had my throat come up in my mouth or whatever the expression is when we got the timing off. That was first time.
But if we're making it a contest, I think the spinner has also given us some challenges that were a little bit.
We'll talk about that in the next
grabbing the throat.
One. But yeah, one thing about the pin drafter is when we go to clean it, or when something goes wrong with it, we actually open up the machine so you have your top row of faller bars on one side and your bottom row here, and the gears that keep it all going together are, they're not touching each other at that moment, so you have to be really careful to not budge anything. And so when you're taking those bars out, we've learned a lot of tricks to keep the timing right, but actually twice now we've had to sort of fix it. Yeah. And you know what? Live and learn. We figured it out. We also had a lot of help. Thankfully, other mill owners have been kind enough to jump on the phone with us in those times. So we were really thrilled to be able to maybe help this woman out.
Yeah, she's got a timing issue that she's got to resolve.
Well, it sounds like she's also, it just sounds like, she hasn't quite got all the dials dialed in exactly correctly. And so we feel excited to follow up with her.
Yeah, she's taking a week off, but hopefully she'll get it solved, and hopefully she'll join our podcast or Millcast and tell us all as well.
Yeah.
But she's at a standstill, and we've talked. If you don't have all your pieces of equipment working, you're at a standstill. You cannot run the spinner if the pin drafter is not working. Can't run the pin drafter if the corker's not working. It's a circle. Yeah.
And I guess one thing we didn't really go into with the pin drafter that we can maybe briefly talk about is making tracks in the pin drafter. Just to mention that is the machine that once we've done our dyeing of our comb top and it's ready to go, that's where it enters our system. So we're not
and not 6 strands, which you saw in the video. It's a single strand of making tracks that gets elongated and the colors get softened. Again, we couldn't do making tracks without the pin drafter.
Yeah, so it's a phenomenal piece of equipment. Yes. It looks so beautiful. I mean, the carded roving is nice. But when you get it out of the pin drafter, it just, you'll see a stack especially when we're mixing several different colors of fleeces. So they go through the carder and you try to have them mixed up in the picker as well as you can. But you look at your stack through the bag and there's sections that are darker than others and lighter, and then you put it through the pin drafter, especially 2 times.
Right.
And you're looking at, there's no fat thin, there's no darker, lighter.
And the colors and the shades of, if it's natural grays, they're all now blended. Yeah. It's good.
It's beautiful.
It's a good thing.
So we love our pin drafter.
Yeah. What are you knitting? Well, what have you finished?
I have my stocking as promised. Here it is.
Fabulous.
It's like almost done, right? Because there's still tassels to be added. And I haven't yet sewn a lining for it, which was your suggestion that you got from someone. But what I did do is I continued knitting the top of the stocking big enough to basically cover up all the stranded work. And I had
that part of the instruction, or
it was optional?
Interesting.
Anna Walton, whose pattern this is, instructs to do like an inch or so, just so that you can do this fun decorative edge.
Right. The picot.
What is it called? Picot?
I think it's called a picot. You're doing a yarn over.
Yep.
Knit together, yarn over.
I've never done this, and it's
it gives
really
you
fun.
It's a very fun.
I want to make Maeve a little sweater with this on an edge or something. Yeah. I've seen them on clothes, and I'm like, how do they do that?
You can also do it on hats, because you know how you'll sometimes do a lining for the hat to make it warm for your ears. And at that fold, you could do it there.
It's so simple. It's so genius. It's great. And like this cuff here has every technique under the sun. In addition, once you're done mastering short rows, you then move on to a lateral braid and a Latvian braid, and then you do your stranded work, and then you kind of do
more
them again,
Latvian,
and some little more stranded work, and it's really free form. So I just chose what colors I wanted to do on a whim. She gives you some instructions based on, you got your 2 main colors and your contrast colors. And the reason that these look different front to back is I use making tracks.
Right.
So you've got Vermont Vice and Red Hots, and then some of our white natural farm fresh yarn. But I had a blast knitting this.
It's very cool.
I feel no disappointment that I couldn't get it up this year, because I now have this to look forward to next year.
Whose stocking is it?
I don't know. I think it's definitely not Cody's stocking, because he's not into this style. He thinks this is beautiful, but just not his deal. So I think it could be Maeve's, but I kind of feel like she needs something a little more like youthful, maybe. This to me looks very like elegant and beautiful. I kind of like it.
That's a good point. I think of a stocking as something like my girls have their stockings with them. They are going to, in July, 37 and 35 years old. And their stockings were created when they were 1 and 3.
So this could be, this could go with her whole life.
I
guess the one other thing that I feel maybe a child's stocking needs is her name on it.
There's that.
And this,
yeah.
You know what?
Okay.
I could also knit her one, and instead of this on the top,
then you'd put Maeve.
Put Maeve.
I think that's a fair point. Yeah. So now that's yours, and do another one.
Or it's a gift for someone. I don't know. I had so much fun with this. I would definitely make this pattern again, and I don't say that about many patterns, but like something about working with the making tracks and the short rows, you just feel like you're painting with yarn. It's so fun.
Very cool.
Thank you, Anna, for designing such a beautiful pattern. We'll link it, and I'm excited to use this next year. And I'm going to do the sewn-in lining, which for those that weren't on the discussion about this, Peggy had this wonderful idea to just sew a lining for the inside so that when you stuff it full of like chocolate,
you're not stretching out.
It keeps its shape. So yeah, that's that. What are you knitting?
Well, you'll be seeing this for a while. This is the Stephen West Duster or Dustland. Why do I keep screwing? Hold on, let's get the name right. Dustland sweater. I did have it right. Mm-hmm. So I got it. Well, it may not look like it, but honest to God, trust me, this is a lot of knitting. So
I believe it, 100%.
So here it is, and I've got about 308 stitches on here, but that's how far I've gotten. I have about another inch to go, and then what he wants you to do, which I get, is put this all on waste yarn and put it on Todd to see if it's coming down far enough.
Would you consider just getting a much larger cable for your needles?
I went to do that. I would need a really big one, and I don't need it regularly. Yeah. And I'd rather put the waste yarn and let it really go out as far as it needs to go. But I have to tell you, last week when I got this out and you said, "Oh, you're doing 2 colors," I'm like, what is she talking about?
Was I right?
You were right, and I hadn't noticed. And you remember the sweater that I had extended the cowl?
Yeah.
That ball of yarn was in the same. So when you're doing this, at one point
is it playing tricks on my eyes?
No. At one point he asks you, he says, stop and then change where the round begins. So you have to actually start in a new place. And I had reached in and did not even notice that I had picked up the brown.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So I had about, a half an inch I had to pull out, but I'm looking at it going, how the hell did you miss that, Peg? But
it was a very similar color. I was like, that's the effect she's going for.
Yeah, but it wasn't the effect I was going for. Anyway, I am clicking along, but thank God for
that's
football.
A really fun pattern though, because it's got all these you're kind of switching patterns.
Exactly, and there's no cabling. It's just knits and purls.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and it's the Corriedale, so it feels great when I'm knitting with it.
Lovely.
So that's my show and tell for today. It'll be the same thing I'll be showing you for a couple weeks, I fear. But yeah.
Yeah, next week I did start something new. I didn't bring it. I did not bring it, but next week I will show off. Hopefully I'll be closer to done. It's for Maeve. So
good.
Small things. Increasingly bigger things.
Yeah. She's moving along.
She is. Lastly, we've got some events coming up.
Yeah, this coming Friday, if you're in the area, we're going back to doing open houses once a month. And for January, it's going to be this coming Friday on the 13th. Mm-hmm. And
what could go wrong?
From 3 to 5. So come on down. We'll have all the making tracks right here in the mill. Have a little tour of the equipment and say hello. Show us what you're knitting.
Put all our samples out so you can look at those. We mentioned it last time, but we have revised the way that we're doing retail hours.
Right.
Just because we're sort of figuring out what our schedules are looking like, and So we do still have by appointment shopping throughout the week, but we're not really doing tours during set hours anymore. We're just hoping we can scoop up folks during those open houses on a regular basis, just so that we can keep the mill moving. And so hopefully you can come and make it. Otherwise, we've got on our website some other open houses for February and March.
Yeah, exactly. And our other event that's coming around the corner is in Wayland, Massachusetts at the Russell Garden Center, which is on the 22nd of January, and it goes from 10:30 to 3. Yeah. I'll be there. Would love to see you. Come on by, and if you're knitting with any of our yarn, I'd love to see what you're knitting. And I look forward to being there.
And that event is in a greenhouse, correct?
Right, it is in a greenhouse.
So even though it's January, it'll be nice and cozy.
Oh, it'll be cozy, and it's a big space.
And they've got some food vendors there too.
Yep, so there's some food vendors there, and they've got a great group of vendors. It's a lot of fun. They do it twice a year. This coming one in January, and then again in March.
Yep, and we'll be there for both of them. So. Yeah. We don't really put a plug out on our Millcast for this too often, but we do have a newsletter that we put out about twice a month. So, if you want to see all those dates in text format a little bit more regularly, sign up through our website. Yeah,
Amanda's doing a killer job with the newsletter. We don't overdo it in your email box, but when we do it, it's really fun to take a look at.
Yeah, so... All right, I think that's all we got for today.
All right, we got to get back to work.
Got to get back to work.
Get that spinner spinning.
Yeah.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.